everybody, and welcome to the Adelaide 6-hour 80k project. I haven't actually done a 6-hour road event yet. I've done plenty of 12 hours and done them quite successfully in the past. I did the Adelaide 12-hour and it didn't go as great as I wanted. Obviously when you are doing a race, sometimes you start to doubt yourself and think, why am I doing this? I'm never going to do this again. Those go through our minds quite often as runners who run long distance races. So what I did decide is I decided to do the 6-hour, come back to Adelaide, do the 6-hour, because mentally it's a lot easier if you've only been doing 12-hour road events to do the 6-hour, but training wise, that's a totally different thing. It's almost like training for a marathon, but you've still got this ultra distance that you've got to try and knock out. So I could liken it to trying to train for the comrades or something like that, but you're still wanting to get a marathon pace and get the speed work, but you're still having to focus on your long run being longer than a normal marathon long run. So it has been a very different thing for me. But it's been one that I've enjoyed. Just 2 weeks ago, I had the Sydney Trail Marathon, which went really well. The only thing is that kind of took a lot longer to recover than I thought it would. So it sort of played on my training and getting back into training, but that's okay. The whole reason of doing that Sydney Marathon or Trail Marathon was just to rev my heart rate and push out fitness as hard as I could for 3.5 hours. And I achieved that. So I was happy with that. So that was actually part of the lead up to the Adelaide 6-hour. So what I want to do is, we're about 8 weeks away. I'm still in the workout phase. I have what's called the BWS. It's a theory that I've put together, but it is one that is around there and people call it differently, but I call it base building or base or building phase. Then you go into the workout phase, and then you go into the sharpening phase. Now, they're phases that have got different names. I just like to remember BWS. Right now, I'm still in the workout phase. I've got 2 weeks left, and then I move into the sharpening phase for the last 6 weeks, and obviously 2 weeks being taper. So it gives me 4 weeks of very high sharpening, and I'll deal with that as we go. But right now in the workout phase, it's more about dialing in workouts, getting workouts done, including long runs, threshold work, hill repeats, all the basic bread and butter style workouts. That's what I've been focusing on. Base building was just about just running as much as I could and trying to get the volumes up and not really focusing too much on workouts, just getting the mileage done, getting the kilometers up and building the base and the legs and the fitness and all the other stuff, the muscular system. So what I want to do is just go briefly through each week as I go. At the end of each week, just head through. So starting off on Monday, I just started doing easy running because what I have found was it was harder to actually recover from. I really wasn't in any form of mood, both mentally and physically, to try and do any form of workout training. So I just left it. There's something I have been doing is building a Couch to 5K series that's going to take a couple of months of filming to build that. I'll talk about more of that later. So I took the opportunity just to film a lot of that this week. Basically, I'm just running for half an hour, holding onto the camera, walk, run. So Monday it wasn't anything much. It was just 18 kilometers, but in the middle of that was a lot of easy running. I mean, really easy, just an average of 5:30 per kilometer. Went into Tuesday, and Tuesday was the same again. Just had to do the easy running. Dropped the kids off at school, just went out and did some easy running. The first run obviously didn't look easy, but it was only 6 kilometers. It was at 4:50 per kilometer, so relatively easy, but flat, pancake flat out in front of the school. And then I just finished off doing another filming of Couch to 5K series. So that was like really super easy. I was like 6.5 minute kilometers, 4 kilometers. So I just kept the volume quite low on those days. Because my legs were still really heavy. It was almost like I had concrete in them, which was an indicator that my body had not quite flushed out all of the whatever you want to call it, toxins, I don't know, whatever you call it, all that stuff that gets caught up when you do a hard trail marathon for 3.5 hours and you're working at 85 to 95% heart rate for that whole time. So went on next day, just did a 10K tempo. So I wanted to see, okay, am I feeling fresh? So I was feeling fresh enough. I did my warm up, I got going, and I was feeling okay. And then I thought, you know what, I'm just going to do a 10K tempo at just below my goal race pace for the Adelaide 6 hour, just to see how it went. And it felt really good. It felt comfortable. I moved through it quite quickly. It was 18 Ks. Obviously that had 4K warm up, 4K cool down, and I felt great. But then, come into the next day, man, my legs were just not recovering. And what I was finding was that I could go and do a workout like a 10K tempo, but I wasn't recovering the way I thought I should. It was very stiff in the nighttime, hard to get out of bed and walk down the stairs, just little things like that. So next day I just went into easy running, another Couch to 5K filming series, just nice and simple, nice and light. But in the afternoon I thought, you know what, I'll try and do some simple track work, not too hard, just try and do it like a 4-minute, maybe 350 pace, 800s. I thought I'll just do 5 of them, not too much, and I haven't run on the track for so long. This was grass, so nice and good on the legs and everything. I got through 3 of them, and my breathing was really labored. I couldn't get into it. Honestly, I wasn't running around the track. It was just my breathing, everything, the step, everything fell out of step. So I just pulled the pin. I thought, you know what? I haven't recovered. I did a 10K tempo, but you got to remember, I wasn't going at a 10K speed. I was going at my just below 6 hour, not even a marathon speed. So it wasn't much to recover from. Then I thought Friday, you know what? I'll get a long run done. And I'll try and, just knock it out, and I'll do 25 Ks. The goal was to do 25 Ks at race pace, 6 hour race pace. Now my 6 hour race pace, for those who haven't done the maths already, 80 Ks is my goal. It means I've got to do 4:30 pace and don't stop, not even for a minute. Just keep going, keep going, keep going. So I thought, you know what, okay, haven't recovered yet, body's still feeling a little iffy. How am I going to do this? So it was quite easy. I figured out that if I ran from where I live, just a couple of kilometres away from where I live, it's right at the top of the hill in Sydney, in this area, and it's 15 Ks all the way into Parramatta. So I was able to run downhill for the first 15 Ks was downhill. So call it cheating, call it whatever you want. My son was having a go at me. He was like, yeah, but you ran downhill, Dad. Like, I mean, how easy is that? Well, yeah, but you've got to remember, 2 weeks ago, hard marathon. Yeah, so downhill it was nice and comfortable. Ran around in Parramatta, which is really flat, up and down some of the roads and streets there. And so I limited my uphill to just 3 or 4 Ks going uphill. And then I realized I'd done a really, really bad rookie mistake. When I say rookie, you'll see what I mean. I got some chafing in parts of my body that I don't want to talk about. I had 7 Ks to go, just like more or less. I finished my 25K time, got that done. I rang my wife, asked if she'd come pick me up. I did not want to run home. So yeah, so I had to cut the long run short. The long run ended up becoming more like 28 Ks instead of 35 Ks, but that's okay. So the next morning I thought, you know what, I'm going to try and catch up my speed work from Thursday that I failed at, that I pulled the pin on. Don't normally recommend people do speed work straight after, but you know what, like it wasn't like a hard long run and I did cut it short. So I went out, the son got on the bike, did some filming. I ended up doing 800 repeats, did 7 of those, and I absolutely loved it. It felt great. Yeah, the last couple were hard, but I still managed to pull off a pace that I was really, really happy with. And it just felt great. And it was one of those moments where you start to realize your training is paying dividends. It was just a matter of trying to get the recovery in. So, and then in the evening, I just did a simple 14 kilometer run, like nice and recovery, easy pace. And then this morning, I just went out and did a 10K, nice and easy, kept it real easy. I'm talking 5:40 pace to 6-minute pace. Found some people that were running along as well, and they were training. So I just ran with them and jogged and talked and got to meet a couple of people, so that was fine. I've also picked up the bike, indoor trainer. The reason for that is I'm trying to get more volume in the legs without the damage on the, like the Achilles. Doing the bike is about building a bit more endurance in the quads, and the upper legs, the hips, and all of that sort of motion. Started doing a lot of foam rolling and a lot of stretching this week, just trying to move through the motion, because next week, as of tomorrow, I get into back into my normal training regime. The only difference is I will take a couple of days off next week because I'm going to do a time trial out at Penrith Lakes at the Regatta Centre, perfectly flat 5K loop, beautiful. I'm going to try and do a 50K at race pace, 6-hour race pace. So I've got to time check myself, make sure my body can do it. How am I feeling after? All that sort of stuff. So you'll get to see a little bit more on that. And so yeah, this week's going to be mentally a little bit of just trying to dial in, but we'll see how we go. Remember, the goal here is about trying to run people through, because there are a lot of people who are wanting to get into ultra running out there, and just not sure on how to do it. And what I'll be doing over this next 8 weeks video series is I'm going to cover off a lot of nutrition and a lot of different things that happens in the race. And I know, I've been there, a lot of people want to step up from the marathon to an ultra race. And these are the sort of things that you'll need to look at in your training program in order to get through an ultra endurance event and feel great about it. So, hope you have an awesome week, and I'll see you next week.